Well, it's good to be back. Glad I'm back making these videos. Sorry, that was a long break and whatnot, but, I did a lot of thinking during my break. I did a lot of thinking, a lot of reflection on certain things, and most of all, I did some research. Did some study, because during that break, as much of a pain it might have been, I did, luckily, stumble upon one of the greatest storytellers I've ever seen. It's a very lucky circumstance. It wasn't planned or anything, but weirdly enough, I did stumble upon a genius storyteller and took tons of notes on how wonderful they could craft their stories. Trying to become a screenwriter and whatnot, I'm getting into that stuff. I definitely would love to do some research, would love to study some more about the story, crafting all that stuff. I would definitely love to do that, and luckily, I got to take notes from one of the most creative storytellers I've ever heard of before. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And that storyteller, that wonderful storyteller I'm talking about, is Xfinity, the internet provider. Let me tell you, bud, I remember when I was a young child, a little baby, and my parents would read me bedtime stories before I went to bed. They would read me little bedtime stories before you went to bed, the Three Little Pigs, stuff like that. They would read you the stories, right? And Xfinity is doing that to this day. You just call them up and they tell you a nice little bedtime story. And funny enough, they even take the smallest detail. They keep it down to the smallest detail. Just like my parents would do, they would read the stories in a calm, quiet voice so that if I did drift off to sleep during their story, it would be okay. I wouldn't be disturbed by their voice. They were calmly like, Three Little Pigs, they did their stuff, Yeah, nice and calm. Luckily, Xfinity is also doing that. Once again, using a very, very quiet voice, a very hard to hear voice. I mean, you can barely hear them half the time, and by God, is that so comforting. To hear that exact voice, you need to really listen to hear exactly what they're saying, and that makes it so much better. If you do fall asleep during their story, it's okay, because they use that nice little voice. Wonderful stories they told. The twists and turns, it was crazy to think, and they were just so creative with the genius ideas here. I mean, every time you thought it was going one way, the exact opposite would happen. And I mean, they would literally tell you, this is exactly what's going to happen, and then the exact opposite would happen. I mean, what a subversion of expectations. What great stories these people told. I mean, I would call them up and they would start off by saying, hey, we know you're having issues with the internet. All you gotta do is upgrade this package. And I'd be like, oh, Xfinity, what a wonderful story that is. I will upgrade the package. And then I'd upgrade the package, and then it wouldn't fix the problem. Oh, what a twist, Xfinity. What a twist that was. Man. So then you call them up and they're like, oh, did I say upgrade the package? Huh, silly me, I meant upgrade the router. And I'd be like, oh, Xfinity, you and your crazy twists. Okay, I'll upgrade the router too. So then you upgrade the router and then it still didn't fix the problem. What a twist, Xfinity. So then you call them up and they're like, oh, did I say upgrade the package and upgrade the router? Huh, I meant upgrade it all again. Oh, Xfinity. Such creative stories. They keep building the stakes, building the tension. Every time you think the problem's gonna be solved, of course it isn't solved. What a great twist it is. What a great twist. Oh boy. And I gotta tell you, there were twists and turns. There were twists and turns. And what they do with their stories, it's a very creative, creative idea. Because basically what they do, it's like those books when you were a kid. You ever have one of those interactivity books where they're like, if you want to do this, go to this page. If you want to do this, go to this page. You know, they do that. Xfinity does that with their stories while you're on the phone. Like, they'll tell you, hey, the package can only go up to this certain speed. And then you say to them, but Xfinity, I've literally seen it do better before. And then they say, oh, did I say that speed? I meant a totally different speed. They literally change the story as you talk to them. It's crazy, the interactivity with that. Such creative ideas, such great stuff. While you're talking to them, the story changes. You can change the story while you're talking to them. That's crazy. Crazy stuff, fun stuff with that. And another element of interactivity they did, it was a great idea. They actually said, how about we send one of the characters to your house? How about we send a technician to your house so you can interact with one of the characters? Interact with one of the characters from the story. That sounds great. Great idea. I'd love to do that. You say that the technician is going to solve the problems once he gets here and everything? Yeah, and I get to interact with them? That sounds great, Xfinity. That's a great idea for the story. But then, the craziest twist happened because it turns out, oh, the technician never showed up. He never got there. Oh, what a twist, Xfinity. What a twist. Hey, the guy's coming to talk to you. Just kidding. He didn't make it. Oh, what a twist, Xfinity. What a twist. You always got me on the edge of my seat. Every time you tell me a story, I don't even know what's gonna happen, man. I don't even know. You'll literally tell me this exact thing will happen, and then I don't even know if it'll happen. I don't even know. Oh, it's great. And then you call them up and you're like, hey, what happened to the technician? And they're like, oh, sorry. He fell into a river. He fell into a river. And I'll be like, but Xfinity, there's no rivers in my area. And they'll be like, oh, did I say they fell into a river? Well, they did just open a new river. It was a brand new river that just opened up today. It was a big deal. Oh, that's crazy, Xfinity. They just opened up the river today. Oh, that's why I didn't know about the river, because it just opened up today. Such creative stuff. Great stuff, great stuff. They'll tell you this, they'll tell you that. Oh, what wonderful stuff. And, by God, it was an experience. Of course, I did ask Xfinity, well, how about you send another guy now that the whole river situation is done? And they say, oh, well, we can't send another guy because, you see, all technicians are actually robots. They're actually robots made in a factory. But we need to make sure the factory is working. Right now, the factory is broken, so we can't make the technicians right now. Now, I'm like, what? Technicians are robots made in a factory? That's crazy, Xfinity. That's crazy. And you need to fix the factory? Oh, okay, that's crazy. But once you fix the factory, you'll send the technician, right? And they're like, what? No, we won't send the technician. Once we fix the factory, all problems in the world will be solved. Because actually, the factory is connected to the devil himself. The devil himself is actually the problem at the factory, and once they get rid of him, all problems will be solved. All problems will be solved. You just gotta get rid of the devil. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, Xfinity. When will that happen? And they'll be like, oh, it'll be fixed by tomorrow. Oh, cool. So then you check up on them tomorrow. Yeah, you check your internet tomorrow, and you're like, wait a minute, the problems still haven't been solved. What happened? Did the devil win? So you call them up and they're like, hey, we did take care of the devil, but the problems still aren't solved. What a twist, Xfinity, what a twist. So they will be sending out a new technician now. Oh, twists and turns. What wonderful stories these are. What wonderful stories. I mean, the twists and turns, the changing of the story as you interact with it, this, that, and the other. Such creative stuff. And it was such a great an experience to learn all this from Xfinity. Great stuff there. Great stuff. You know, I thought about it and I took some notes. I thought about what they taught me and I was thinking, yeah, they made it clear. Make the story as difficult to understand as possible. Make it as crazy as ever. So many twists and turns, so many things, just throw random stuff in there, just do whatever, man. If the audience can understand what the story is, you're not doing good enough. It has to be even more crazy. The audience can never understand what is going on. Twist and turns all the time. Literally tell them one thing and then do the opposite. Have them on their toes always. Doesn't make any sense. Have characters pop up and then disappear and then do this and that. Oh, great stuff, Xfinity. Throw in random characters for no reason, have them disappear. I mean, all this stuff. It's great stuff, great stuff. And it really did make me think, you know, twist turns, they can't understand it, this, that, interact with the people. Like, if people say something, have somebody in your story say that, and Xfinity, you just did what my videos do. It's crazy, stuff just comes up here and there, people come in and disappear, and people don't really understand what's going on because it's just a bunch of nonsense. And I have characters talk to me saying stuff that the audience has said before, and they're like a stand-in for the audience. Wait a minute, Xfinity. You're just doing what I do. Well, I'm flattered, Xfinity, but the problem here is, well, when I do it, it's just a goofy YouTube video. When you do it, you're interacting with the people. See, that's not cool, man. See, it's fun. It's fun when I do it. Because an example of me doing it is I explain the whole backstory in that Everything Explained video. I explained the backstory, all the characters, and all that stuff. And the McChicken Man is a stand-in in the audience and interacted with me and said, like, hey, that didn't make any sense. I'm actually more confused now that you said all that. That didn't make any sense. And it's a funny little goofy wink at the audience and whatnot. It's a goof. But with you, Xfinity, an example of how you did it, personal experience between me and you, you said after all the upgrades, all that, dealing with all that for like a month, for like months now, you said, hey, upgrade the package again. And I interacted with you by responding in the fun way of, hey, Xfinity, shut the fuck up. I upgraded everything already multiple times, and it's actually gotten worse. Like, after the first upgrade, it was really good. The internet was really good for like 2 months. And then it got bad again. I just want to go back to when it was good again. But you keep on telling me to upgrade these things. I keep upgrading them, but they never got to that same level that they were after that first upgrade. What the hell happened, Xfinity? Hey, Xfinity, shut the fuck up and fix my internet. And that was not a fun interactivity bit because clearly somebody was upset. If the audience isn't enjoying it, it's probably not very fun, Xfinity. Well, guess that's all I gotta say to that. Yeah, if you're wondering where I've been, well, I was listening to the wonderful bedtime stories of Xfinity. Thank you for all the stories. It was not the most fun experience, but hey, I guess I learned some stuff. Well, I'll end this video this way. make McChickens, but actually you can make war, too, as long as it's war with Xfinity. Fuck you, Xfinity! Thanks for watching, everyone!